What is going on, New York Giants fans? Hit Squad back at it with another New York Giants video. And today we are going to be breaking down the New York Giants facing the Tennessee Titans at 4:25 in Nashville, Tennessee this Sunday. Now, before we get into this video, if you are new to the channel, join the Hit Squad. Join the Hit Squad. Hit the like button, leave your thoughts on this video below. I'd love to interact with you guys. We're almost at 500 subscribers. I know that we could get there, so join the Hit Squad and become a family member of the Hit Squad. Now, let's get into this video. Now, with the New York Giants facing the Tennessee Titans, first of all, more than anything, I'm just excited to have football back. I mean, I think we all are, but I'm really excited to see how this New York Giants team progresses and where this team is at. I know some people have us, not winning many games this year. You have some people thinking that, we're going to win double digits. But for me personally, I want to see progression. I want to see this team compete. Now, when you're going against a team like the Tennessee Titans, who had the best record in the AFC last year, they have a stout run attack. They have a stout defense that could get to the quarterback, that could clog the run. And on top of that, you have a dominant force in Derrick Henry. I mean, they're one of the best teams in this league. And I think that the New York Giants they're gonna be put to the test. I mean, there's a lot of different things that the Giants can do to give them a better chance of winning this game. And we're actually gonna break that down as well. I'm gonna give you guys some keys as to how I think the New York Giants could come out with a dub. It's gonna be hard, but it's not impossible. And I honestly think that when you look at both of these teams, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants, I think that they're kind of balanced a little bit. I think that the New York Giants, they went out this offseason, they revamped their offensive line. You get Evan Neal at 7, who's a stud right tackle. You then get Izudu in later rounds. In free agency, you go and get Mark Lewinsky, who's a former Colt. He's plugged in at the right guard position. You get familiarity with center John Feliciano over from Buffalo. And then, at left guard, you're going to either have Lemieux or Bredesen or Joshua Izudu going forward. So I respect that, Joe Shane and company went and they addressed the position of need, which was the offensive line. Now, when you also look at the Tennessee Titans have a little bit of a rocky offensive line themselves. They'll be starting a rookie right tackle, I believe. And Taylor Lewan, he's a stud of a player, but he's not who he once was. This offensive line could be dealt with. And I think that when you look at the Tennessee Titans as well, with them having a hellacious defense that could get to the quarterback, despite the New York Giants probably not going to be having Azeez Ojulari and Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, this is a team that can get to the quarterback as well. Now, with those two out, obviously, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but, I'm sure that Wink will write up and draw up different schemes and different ways, to draw up blitzes to get to the quarterback and to throw Ryan Tannehill and crew off. Now, let's be honest, right? It's going to be very hard to stop Derrick Henry. I don't think you can really stop him. I think that you could really just limit him at best. And that might be what the New York Giants have to do. Matter of fact, that is what they have to do. That's one of the keys of what the New York Giants have to do is limit Derrick Henry. And honestly, I think that's going to put a test to Tay Crowder. I think that's going to put a test to Austin Carlito. I want to see the linebackers hit their gaps. I also want to see, Leonard Williams, who's known for clogging up the run. I really want to see him, at the line just causing chaos. And, Big Dex, who's a monster of a human being, getting one-on-ones and beating those mismatches. Look, I understand that Derrick Henry's a beast. He's the best back in this league. But at the same time, it's not impossible to stop this guy. Now, in the same regard, Tennessee did go out there and, they made some adjustments to their offense. Obviously, by trading A.J. Brown to the Eagles, they select Treylon Burks in the first round, who I think is actually a pretty good wide receiver. I'm really interested to see that matchup. I believe Aaron Robinson would probably be covering him most of the game. So I think that's going to be a really good test for Aaron Robinson. But, they went and they got, I have it right here, Robert Woods. From the Los Angeles Rams. On top of that, they went and got former Browns tight end Austin Hooper, who's in his own regard a solid tight end. And the way that, Tennessee runs their offense is 12 personnel. So we're going to see two tight end sets. And honestly, this line is going to have to be on their P's and Q's. One thing that we can't have is Derrick Henry getting to the second level. Once he gets to the second level, he's damn near impossible to stop. And it's going to be hard. It's really going to be a true test to see how this defense can overcome, the handicaps of what they have. Not having your two premier edge rushers, that's going to hurt, setting the edge. I honestly, it's gonna be one of those. It's gonna be one of those games, in my honest opinion, that's gonna come down to the trenches. I really do believe that. I think it's gonna come down to the trenches, and if we can, again, limit him and force Ryan Tannehill, who, no slight at Ryan Tannehill, I think he's a good RPO quarterback. He's athletic. He can get out the pocket. But I would feel a lot better if the New York Giants left the ball in Ryan Tannehill's hands as opposed to having Derrick Henry control the game. Now, the New York Giants, obviously, we're going to be installing not only a new defensive scheme with Wick Martindale, but a new offensive scheme under Mike Kafka and Brian Dable. So, in my honest opinion, while I'm very excited for this offense this season, I do think that the first 2 to 3 games, this offense is going to be run out a little bit slow, slower than where it's, obviously meant to be at, and it's going to take some time. They're still learning this playbook. And what I'm really excited for is, Brian Dable catering this offense towards Daniel Jones. Now, in my honest opinion, I think with Daniel Jones having his best offensive line, same with Saquon Barkley, those are two players in my mind that you should really look at. Now, there are other players that I would personally look at, such as Xavier McKinney on the defensive side of the ball, Tate Crowder on the defensive side of the ball, Kadarius Toney. How is he going to look? He's one of those kind of players where, when they're out in open space, they are near impossible to take down. So can he stay on the field? Can he make the most of his opportunities? You also look at second round wide receiver that they drafted, Wan'Dale Robinson, who some people think that he's going to have a learning curve in this league his first season. I don't think he's going to have a learning curve personally, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they rolled him out a little slow the first 2 to 3 games. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see him coming out the slot or even doing some jet motion sweeps. It's going to be very interesting to see how Kadarius Toney, Wan'Dale, and crew get involved not only in the passing game but in the running game as well. So for me, if I'm the New York Giants, you have to control the time of possession. You have to control the time of possession. You have to be able to not only establish a run game, but keep the Tennessee Titans defense on their toes. In my honest opinion, the New York Giants, the last couple seasons, have not been very good at controlling the time of possession. It's something that we struggle with and unfortunately let other teams that we play dictate. And the New York Giants have to be better with that. Now, will that change with Brian Dable and crew? It's possible. I'd like to think that it's possible, considering that the past 2 regimes couldn't get that done. But in my honest opinion, if you can get this ground game running with a healthy Saquon, who, mind you, is coming off of, this ACL injury 2 years ago. So, if you don't know, most people will tell you that the second year of a player coming off of that ACL is usually when they're at their best or back to their most normal self. And I have Saquon Barkley penciled in to have a similar year, if not a little better, than his rookie season. I truly believe that. I'm very excited to see how Brian Dable uses these two, not just Saquon Barkley, but Daniel Jones. I really want to see how this kid progresses. Now, going back to Saquon Barkley, you have a player that is going to be having the best offensive line that he's had in his NFL career, which, for me personally, that's another crew that I'm looking at in this game is the offensive line. You have a rookie right tackle, you have new pieces to the O-line. They have to develop chemistry. But in the preseason, they were giving Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor pockets. They were giving the run game some nice lanes for the running backs. So For me, I'm really excited to see Saquon running with a competent offensive line. And we got some pieces on there that, they can be staple pieces going forward. But the offensive line is going to be put to test going against that defensive line. Now, I know that the Tennessee Titans are going to be without their star edge rusher, pass rusher. He is out due to an ACL injury. But still, at the same time, they still have a solid front seven. Their secondary is solid as well. So this offense is going to be put to a test, but the offensive line in itself is going to be put to a test. Now, for me, I think that another key for the New York Giants to win this game is to win the turnover battle. Now, I think that Daniel Jones took a big step forward last year in not fumbling the ball. I think that that narrative is kind of getting old now with Daniel Jones. And for me personally, if we can win the turnover battle, you have a very good chance of beating the Tennessee Titans. In my honest opinion, I think really just doing everything you can to keep Derrick Henry off of the field, that's going to give you one of the best chances to win this game. Because the longer you keep that guy on the field, I mean, he's going to get yards. He's going to be able to get to the second level. He's not one of those people that one person could take down. He's going to take a couple people to take down. He's literally a defensive end playing running back. He's the king for a reason. So if you can control the time of possession, you can win the turnover battle. I mean, you have a very good chance of beating this team. Now, with that being said, one thing that I really want to see Daniel Jones do is get the ball to his playmakers. Again, you have Kadarius Toney, you have Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Kenny Golladay, Saquon Barkley, Matt Breida. You go out there and you sign Daniel Bellinger in this year's draft. You have weapons. Make the use of these weapons. With this offensive scheme, it's very interesting to see how is Brian Dable and crew going to get these guys open. And I think that Kafka, with him calling plays, I mean, I think that this offense might be a little bit more Chiefs feel than what most people may think. I know a lot of people think that it's just going to be a complete, one off of the Bills. I think there might be a little mix, but I could absolutely see, it being more Chiefs related. And I'd also want to see Daniel Jones and crew score in the red zone. Last year we were in a position where we weren't really scoring in the red zone. We weren't taking advantage of opportunities. We were hoping and praying that they could score a touchdown, which in today's league that's heavily favored in passing and, really favors the offense. Not being able to score a touchdown was just embarrassing. It was really sad. It was a low point for the New York Giants in their franchise history. So I don't see that happening this season. I think that Kafka and crew are going to be able to scheme these guys open in the red zone so that, we can score points. Because ultimately we're going to have to. You cannot beat this Tennessee Titans team by kicking field goals. It's just not going to happen. So again, stock Derrick Henry, win the time of possession, win the turnover battle, get the ball to your playmakers, score in the red zone. I know some of them is a lot easier said than done, but it's not impossible. It really isn't. I think that both of these teams going against each other, they're fair matchups. It's going to be a hard game for the New York Giants to come out with the dub, but I got us winning. I got us winning 24-17. It's going to be hard, but I really do think that the New York Giants are going to be able to pull out with the dub. Let me know what you guys think below. What are some matchups that you guys are looking for? Me personally, I'm very excited to see Andrew Thomas going against Bud Dupree. I'm really excited to see really how Kadarius Toney is going to tear up that secondary. So there's some matchups I'm really looking for. If Kayvon and Azeez were playing, I would say Azeez going against Taylor Lewan. I think that would be one hell of a matchup, but unfortunately, we're probably not going to see that. So again, 24-17, I think the New York Giants start off 1-0. Let us know your thoughts below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.